Welcome to my channel, Practice English with Ease. Have you ever wondered why some people can talk to many different people in English? Friends, strangers, colleagues, even bosses, without fear, without confusion, and without sounding perfect? They don't panic, they don't translate in their head, and they don't stay silent. What if I told you that talking to many people in English is not about knowing everything, but about knowing a few powerful basics that almost no one teaches? If you stay with me till the end, you will understand exactly how to start, continue, and enjoy conversations in English with many people, even if you are an absolute beginner. Stay with me, because this video can change how you speak forever. Chapter 1. Understanding what talking to many people really means. Before we learn how to talk to many people in English, we must first understand what this idea really means. This step is very important because most English learners carry a wrong picture in their mind. When they hear talking to many people, they imagine fluent speakers, fast speakers, or people who sound exactly like native speakers. This misunderstanding creates pressure. It makes learners feel that talking to many people is something far away from them, something only confident or advanced speakers can do. But let me tell you something very honestly and very clearly. That idea is wrong. And once you understand the truth, a big part of your fear will disappear. Talking to many people in English does not mean speaking fast. It does not mean speaking perfectly. And it does not mean speaking like a native speaker. Talking to many people simply means this. You can start a conversation, you can continue it simply, and you can respond comfortably in different situations. That's all. It is about basic communication, not advanced performance. It is about connection, not perfection. Many beginners believe that fluency comes first, and then communication comes later. But in real life, it works the opposite way. Communication comes first, and fluency grows slowly from communication. People who talk to many people are not waiting to become perfect. They start talking early with simple English, and they improve naturally over time. If you wait for perfect grammar or perfect pronunciation, you may wait forever. But if you start communicating with what you already know, progress begins immediately. Now let's talk about fear, because fear is the biggest barrier here. When beginners face many people, their heart beats faster. Their mind goes blank. They start thinking, what if I make a mistake? What if they judge me? What if I can't understand them? This fear is completely normal. It does not mean you are bad at English. It means you are human. Your brain is trying to protect you from embarrassment. But here is the truth. Most people are not judging your English. Most people are busy thinking about themselves. And many people actually respect you for trying to speak another language. Another important reason beginners feel scared is overload. When you talk to many people, your brain is doing many things at the same time. You are listening, thinking, translating, choosing words, and worrying about mistakes. This is heavy work for the brain, especially in a new language. That is why simplicity is your best friend. When you keep your sentences short and your ideas clear, your brain feels lighter. And when your brain feels lighter, your confidence increases. Now let's introduce a very powerful idea. Communication is not about being impressive. Communication is about being understandable. If people understand you, you are successful. Even if your grammar is not perfect, even if your accent is strong, understanding is the real goal. Think about children. Children talk to many people with very simple language. They make mistakes, but people still understand them and respond. Why? Because their message is clear. You can do the same in English. Let's look at a simple comparison. Person A speaks with advanced grammar but talks very fast, uses long sentences, and jumps from one idea to another. Person B uses simple English, pauses, and speaks calmly. Who is easier to talk to? Almost always, it is person B. People prefer clarity over complexity. They prefer comfort over perfection. This is why simple speakers often talk to more people than perfect speakers. Another important mindset shift is this. You do not need to talk a lot to talk to many people. You only need to talk enough. Many learners think they must fill silence or speak continuously. This creates stress. In reality, good communication has space. Silence is normal. Pauses are normal. You can speak one sentence and listen for 2 minutes. That is still communication. That is still talking to people. Let me share something from experience. Over many years of teaching English, I have seen beginners who were very quiet at first. They spoke only short sentences, but they were calm, polite, and clear. Over time, people enjoyed talking to them, not because their English was perfect, but because conversations felt easy. Ease is powerful. When people feel comfortable around you, they want to talk to you again. Now here is a key truth you must remember. Talking to many people is not a personality trait. It is a skill. Skills can be learned. If you can learn to ride a bicycle, use a phone, or cook a simple meal, you can learn to talk to many people in English. It is not magic. It is practice with the right mindset. So what do you really need? You need clarity, you need calmness, and you need simple structure. Clarity means knowing what you want to say. Calmness means not rushing or panicking. Simple structure means using basic sentences and clear ideas. That's it. Not hundreds of words. Not perfect grammar. Just these 3 things. This chapter is about removing fear and setting the right foundation. If your mindset is wrong, techniques will not help. But when your mindset is clear, learning becomes easier. You are not here to impress everyone. You are here to connect, step by step, conversation by conversation. Now here is an important transition. Once you understand what talking to many people really means, the next question is obvious. How do you actually start conversations, especially when you feel nervous? That is exactly what we will learn in the next chapter. Simple, practical ways to start talking to different people without stress or confusion. Stay with me, because this is where confidence begins. Chapter 2. How to start conversations with different people in English. For most English learners, the hardest part of speaking is not grammar, pronunciation, or vocabulary. The hardest part is starting. That first sentence feels heavy. Your mind asks many questions at the same time. What should I say? Is this correct? What if they don't respond? Because of this fear, many learners stay silent, even when they really want to speak. If this has happened to you, let me tell you something important. You are not weak, and you are not bad at English. This feeling is very common, and there is a clear reason for it. Starting a conversation is harder than continuing one, because at the beginning, there is nothing to react to. Your brain must create something from zero. When a conversation is already moving, you can listen, react, agree, disagree, or ask follow-up questions. But at the start, you feel all the pressure on yourself. This pressure becomes even stronger when English is not your first language. Your brain wants to be safe, so it chooses silence. But silence, over time, creates regret, and regret slowly kills confidence. Now here is the good news. Starting conversations is not a talent, it is a skill, and skills can be learned. People who seem naturally confident are often just using simple patterns again and again. They are not inventing new sentences every time. They are repeating what works. You can do the same. Let's break this fear with one very powerful idea. You do not need a perfect sentence to start a conversation. You only need a natural one. A natural sentence is simple, honest, and clear. In fact, one sentence is often enough to open many doors. You don't need a speech, you need an opening. The easiest and safest way to start conversations is by asking questions. Questions remove pressure from you and place it gently on the conversation itself. When you ask a question, you don't need to talk a lot. You listen. And listening gives you time to think. This is why questions are your best friend when talking to many people. Let's look at some simple question starters that work almost everywhere. With strangers, you can use situation-based questions. For example, is this seat free? Do you know what time it starts? Have you been here before? These questions are natural. They don't feel strange or forced. And even a short answer creates a connection. With classmates or co-workers, you can use topic-based questions. How was the class today? Are you working on the same project? How is your work going? These questions show interest, not pressure. They invite conversation without demanding too much. With neighbors or people you see often, simple personal questions work well. How are you today? How's everything going? How was your weekend? You don't need a deep answer. Even good thanks is a successful start. From there, the conversation can grow naturally. In group situations, starting can feel even more difficult. But here is a simple trick. You don't need to start the main topic. You can comment on what is already happening. For example, this place is very crowded today. That was an interesting point. I didn't know that. These short comments show presence. They gently place you inside the conversation without taking control of it. Now let's talk about something many learners forget. Communication starts before words. Your body language speaks first. If your body looks closed, nervous, or distant, people feel it. But if your body looks open and relaxed, starting becomes easier. Simple actions help a lot. Stand or sit straight. Relax your shoulders, face the person. These small changes send a signal of confidence, even if you feel nervous inside. Eye contact is also important, but it does not mean staring. Just gentle, natural eye contact. Look at the person when you speak, and look away sometimes when you listen. This shows comfort and respect, and then comes tone. Your tone should be calm and friendly. You don't need to sound excited, you need to sound comfortable. A calm tone makes simple English sound confident. Now let's remove another fear. Many learners worry, what if the other person doesn't respond? This is important to understand. A short response or no response does not mean you failed. Sometimes people are busy, tired, or distracted. Their response is about them, not about your English. Smart speakers do not take this personally. They try once, and if it doesn't work, they move on calmly. Here is a very important mindset shift. Your job is not to control the conversation. Your job is only to open the door. Once the door is open, the conversation becomes shared responsibility. If the other person continues, great. If not, that's okay too. You did your part. Let's look at a small example. Imagine you want to talk to a coworker. You say, "How is your work going?" They say, "Good." That's not the end. You can add one simple follow-up. "That's nice. Are you working on the new task?" But even if you stop after "good," the start was successful. You spoke, you practiced, you built confidence. Confidence grows through action, not thinking. Every small start makes the next one easier. Your first conversation may feel uncomfortable. Your 10th will feel easier. Your 100th will feel natural. This is how skills grow. Remember this clearly. You don't need to be interesting. You need to be interested. People enjoy talking to those who show simple curiosity. And curiosity does not require advanced English. It only requires attention and courage. Now here is the transition to the next chapter. Starting a conversation is powerful, but what happens after that? Many learners ask, "I started speaking, but then I didn't know what to say next." In the next chapter, you will learn exactly how to keep conversations going smoothly, naturally, and without stress, even when your English is simple. Stay with me, because this is where real comfort begins. Chapter 3: How to Keep Conversations Going Without Stress. Many English learners experience this exact situation. You gather courage, you start a conversation, and for a moment, everything feels okay. But then suddenly, your mind goes empty. You think, "What do I say now?" The silence feels heavy. Your heart starts beating faster, and you feel the pressure to say something, anything. This moment is one of the biggest confidence killers for beginners. But let me tell you something very important. This problem does not mean you are bad at English. It means you don't yet know the simple techniques that keep conversations moving. And once you learn them, this fear becomes much smaller. The first truth you need to understand is this: you are not responsible for carrying the whole conversation alone. A conversation is a shared activity. Two people build it together. Many learners think they must always talk, explain, and entertain. This belief creates stress. In reality, your job is to respond naturally and stay engaged. You don't need long answers. You don't need perfect sentences. You need simple reactions and curiosity. The easiest way to keep a conversation going is by using follow-up questions. A follow-up question is a question that connects directly to what the other person just said. This is powerful because you don't need to think of a new topic. The topic is already there. You simply continue it. For example, someone says, "I'm learning English these days." You can ask, "Why are you learning English?" Or, "How long have you been learning?" These questions feel natural and keep the conversation flowing. Another powerful technique is using short reactions. Short reactions show that you are listening and interested. Words like, "Really? That's nice. Oh, I see. That sounds interesting." These reactions may seem small, but they are very important. They encourage the other person to continue speaking. They also buy you time to think. Short reactions reduce pressure because you don't have to speak in full sentences every time. Repeating key words is another simple but effective method. When you repeat one or two important words from the other person's sentence, it shows attention and keeps the conversation alive. For example, if someone says, "I visited my hometown last weekend," you can say, "Your hometown," or "Last weekend." This invites them to explain more without you needing new vocabulary or ideas. This technique is especially helpful for beginners because it is easy and safe. Now let's talk about listening, because listening is the real engine of conversation. When you listen carefully, ideas come to you automatically. You don't need to force them. Many learners listen only to reply, not to understand. Their mind is busy preparing the next sentence instead of focusing on the speaker. This creates stress and confusion. But when you truly listen, you relax, you understand better, and your responses become more natural. Here is an important shift. Silence is not always bad. Many learners fear silence because they think it means failure. But silence can be normal and healthy in conversation. Sometimes people pause to think. Sometimes they pause to breathe. Smart speakers do not panic during silence. They stay calm. They let the moment pass. Often, the other person continues speaking on their own. When you stay calm, silence loses its power over you. Now let's talk about answer length. Many beginners believe long answers sound better, but this is not true. Long answers increase stress and increase the chance of mistakes. Short answers are easier to control and easier to understand. For example, if someone asks, "How was your day?" You don't need a long story. You can say, "It was good, a bit busy, but fine." This is clear, natural, and comfortable. If the other person wants more, they will ask. Another helpful habit is sharing small personal details. You don't need deep stories. Simple details create connection. For example, "I like coffee. I'm working today. I'm a little tired." These small pieces of information make you human and relatable. They give the other person something to respond to. Let's look at a common mistake. When learners don't know what to say, they suddenly change the topic. This can feel confusing to the listener. Instead of changing topics quickly, stay with the current topic a little longer. Ask one more question. React one more time. This makes the conversation feel smoother and more respectful. Here is a simple structure you can remember. Listen, react, ask. This pattern works in almost every conversation. You listen carefully. You react with a short phrase. Then you ask a simple follow-up question. That's it. You don't need more. Let's look at a quick example. Someone says, "I'm studying online these days." You listen. You react. "Oh, online?" Then you ask, "What are you studying?" This simple flow keeps the conversation alive without stress. Confidence grows when you realize you don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. Presence means you are listening, responding, and staying calm. When you stop fighting the conversation and start flowing with it, speaking becomes easier. This chapter connects naturally to the previous one. You learned how to start conversations. Now you know how to continue them without pressure. And here is the beautiful part. The more conversations you continue, the easier starting becomes too. Everything is connected. Now let's move forward. Once you can keep conversations going, another challenge appears. What if the people you talk to have different English levels or speak differently? In the next chapter, you will learn how to stay confident and comfortable when talking to many different people, no matter how they speak. Stay with me because this skill is life-changing. Chapter 4. How to talk to many people with different English levels. One of the biggest hidden fears English learners have is not speaking English itself. It is speaking English with people who speak differently. Some people speak very fast. Some speak very confidently. Some have strong accents. And some speak very simple English. When learners face these differences, they often start comparing themselves. And comparison is one of the fastest ways to lose confidence. Let me say this very clearly. English is not a competition. You are not in a race with anyone. You are not being tested. You are communicating. The moment you start comparing your English to someone else's English, your focus moves away from understanding and connection. And when that happens, fear enters your mind. Many learners feel small when they talk to people who speak better English. They think, "My English is bad, I sound stupid," or "they will judge me." But here is an important truth. Speaking better English does not mean being a better communicator. Some fluent speakers are poor listeners. Some confident speakers confuse others. And some simple speakers create the best conversations. Your value in communication is not decided by fluency. It is decided by clarity and calmness. Now let's talk about fast speakers. This is a very common real-life challenge. When someone speaks fast, beginners often panic. They try to catch every word, and when they miss something, they feel lost. Here is what you must remember. You do not need to understand every word to understand the message. Focus on key words, not every detail. And if you don't understand, it is okay to ask. Asking for repetition is not a weakness. It is a communication skill. Smart speakers ask for clarity. They don't pretend to understand. You can use very polite and simple sentences like, "Sorry, can you say that again? Could you speak a little slower, please?" or "I didn't catch that." These sentences are normal. Native speakers use them too. When you ask calmly and politely, people usually slow down naturally. Now let's talk about accents. English is spoken all over the world. There is no single correct accent. Accents are natural. They show background, culture, and identity. If you struggle to understand an accent, it does not mean you are bad at English. It means your ear is still learning. This takes time. Be patient with yourself. Ask questions. Listen carefully. Over time, your understanding will improve. Another situation learners face is speaking with people who have lower English levels. Some learners feel awkward or unsure in this situation. They don't know whether to speak more or less. The key here is respect. Speak clearly. Use simple words. Be patient. Don't correct every mistake. Focus on understanding. When communication feels safe, both sides feel comfortable. Now, let's talk about mistakes, because mistakes will happen. You will forget words. You will say something incorrectly. This is normal. The problem is not the mistake. The problem is how you react to it. If you panic, apologize too much, or stop speaking, your confidence drops. But if you stay calm and continue, the mistake loses its power. Many people don't even notice small mistakes, and those who do usually don't care. Here is a powerful mindset shift. Your goal is not to sound perfect. Your goal is to be understood. If people understand you, you are successful. If they ask questions, it means they are interested. That is a good sign, not a bad one. Let's talk about slowing conversations down politely. You don't need to say long explanations. Simple phrases work best. Let me think for a second. Just a moment. Can I explain again? These phrases create space for you to breathe and think. They show confidence, not weakness. Now let me share something very important. Strong communication is about understanding, not competing. When you compete, you focus on yourself. When you understand, you focus on the other person. And people feel that difference immediately. They feel safer. They feel more relaxed. And conversations become easier. Here is a real-life example. Imagine two people talking. One keeps showing off vocabulary and talking fast. The other listens carefully, speaks simply, and asks clear questions. Which one feels easier to talk to? Almost always, it is the second person. Ease is more powerful than fluency. This chapter is about emotional strength. Emotional strength means staying calm even when you feel unsure. It means accepting your level and working with it, not fighting it. When you accept yourself, others accept you too. Talking to many people means talking to different people. And different people bring different challenges. But now you know something important. You don't need to change who you are. You need to adjust how you respond. Calmness, clarity, and curiosity work in every situation. Now here is the transition to the next chapter. You can start conversations, you can continue them, and you can handle different speakers. But what happens when you are in a group? Group conversations feel like a different world. In the next chapter, you will learn how to speak in group conversations confidently, without fear and without disappearing. stay with me, because this is where many learners feel stuck and where real growth happens. Chapter 5: How to Sound Clear and Confident in Group Conversations. For many English learners, group conversations are the most intimidating. Talking to one person already feels challenging, but talking in a group can feel overwhelming. Many voices, different opinions, fast replies, laughter, and sudden topic changes. Beginners often feel invisible in groups. They want to speak, but they don't know when, or they speak once, make a small mistake, and then stay silent for the rest of the conversation. If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. Group conversations feel scary because they move faster and give you less control. But here is the good news. Group conversations are not impossible. They are learnable. The first thing you need to understand is why group conversations feel so difficult. In one-to-one conversations, the focus is shared between two people. You have time. You can pause. You can ask questions easily. In groups, attention moves quickly. People interrupt, laugh, and change topics suddenly. Beginners feel pressure to react fast, and that pressure creates fear. But smart speakers do not try to speak all the time in groups. They choose their moments. Here is an important mindset shift. You do not need to speak a lot in group conversations to be noticed. You only need to speak clearly when you do speak. One clear sentence is more powerful than many nervous ones. Quality matters more than quantity. When you speak with purpose, people listen. Now let's talk about when to speak. Timing is everything in group conversations. Beginners often try to speak while someone else is talking, and then they stop because they feel rude or ignored. Instead, wait for natural pauses. These pauses appear after someone finishes an idea, after laughter, or when the topic changes. During these moments, speak calmly and clearly. You don't need to rush. Groups naturally create space, even if it feels small. Entering a group conversation politely is another important skill. You don't need to interrupt loudly. Simple phrases work very well. You can say, "Can I add something?" "I agree with that." "That reminds me of something." These phrases gently place you into the conversation. They signal respect and confidence at the same time. Now let's talk about sharing opinions. Many beginners avoid giving opinions because they fear being wrong. But opinions do not need to be complex or strong. Simple opinions are enough. You can say, "I think it's good." "I like this idea." "For me, it's difficult." These short sentences show presence. They show that you are part of the group. You don't need long explanations unless someone asks. Another powerful technique is agreeing or building on what someone else said. You don't always need a new idea. You can support an existing one. For example, "I agree with what you said." "That's true. I had a similar experience." This makes you visible without pressure. People notice those who support and connect ideas. Let's talk about nervous habits. In group conversations, beginners often speak very fast, use many filler words, or apologize too much. This happens because of fear. The solution is simple. Slow down. Take one breath before speaking. Even in a group, A short pause shows confidence. People respect calm speakers. Here is something very important. You do not need to compete for attention. You do not need to be the loudest voice. Many learners think confidence means talking more or talking louder. This is not true. Confidence means being comfortable with your space. When you speak calmly and clearly, people naturally listen. Let's look at a small example. Imagine a group discussing travel. Someone says, "Traveling is expensive." You can enter by saying, "I agree. Flights are very expensive now." That's one sentence. Clear, calm, complete. You don't need more. That one sentence shows you are part of the group. Another key skill is accepting that you may not understand everything in group conversations. That is okay. Focus on understanding the main idea. You don't need every word. If you miss something, you can stay quiet and re-enter later. Silence does not mean failure. It means patience. Group conversations become easier with experience. The first few times, you may feel invisible. That is normal. Over time, as you speak once, then twice, confidence builds. People begin to recognize your voice, and once they recognize you, entering becomes easier. This chapter is a major confidence booster because it changes how you see groups. Groups are not enemies. They are practice spaces. Every group conversation you join, even silently, trains your listening and understanding. Every small comment you make builds courage. Now let's move to the final chapter. You have learned how to start conversations, continue them, handle different speakers, and speak in groups. But how do you make this skill permanent? How do you build confidence that lasts? In the final chapter, you will learn daily habits and simple practices that help you talk to many people naturally and comfortably over time. Stay with me, because this is where everything comes together. Chapter 6. Building Daily Habits to Talk to Many People. Naturally. We have now reached the final chapter, and this is where everything comes together. You have learned what talking to many people really means. You have learned how to start conversations, how to keep them going, how to handle different English levels, and how to speak in group situations. Now, the most important question is this: how do you make all of this natural? How do you stop feeling scared every time and start feeling comfortable? The answer is simple, but very powerful. Daily habits. Many English learners believe that confidence comes suddenly one day. They think, "One day I will wake up and feel confident." But confidence does not work like that. Confidence is not a gift. Confidence is a result. It is built slowly through small actions repeated every day. No confident speaker started confident. They started nervous, unsure, and imperfect. What made the difference was consistency. Let me tell you something very important. You do not need big practice sessions. You do not need hours of study. You need small daily habits that fit into your real life. When practice is small and simple, your brain feels safe. And when your brain feels safe, learning becomes faster. The first habit is daily exposure. This means hearing and seeing English every day, even for a few minutes. Listen to short videos, simple podcasts, or conversations. You don't need to understand everything. Just let your ear get comfortable with English sounds. This reduces fear because English starts to feel familiar, not foreign. The second habit is speaking out loud every day. This is very important. Many learners only think in English, but they don't speak. Thinking is not enough. Your mouth needs practice. Speak for 1 or 2 minutes daily. Talk about your day. Talk about what you see. Talk about what you feel. It does not matter if no one listens. What matters is that your brain and mouth work together. The third habit is small, real conversations. You don't need deep discussions. 1 sentence is enough. Say hello. Ask a question. Give a short answer. Each small conversation is a brick. 1 brick may feel small, but many bricks build a strong house. Every time you speak, even for 5 seconds, your confidence grows. Now let's talk about mindset. Because habits without the right mindset don't last. Stop waiting to be perfect. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Accept mistakes as part of learning. Mistakes mean you are trying. Silence with fear means you are stuck. Always choose action over perfection. Another powerful mindset shift is this. Do not say, I'm bad at English. Say, I'm improving my English. Words shape your thinking. When you speak kindly to yourself, your confidence grows naturally. Here is a simple daily routine you can follow. 5 minutes of listening. 2 minutes of speaking out loud. 1 small conversation during the day. That's it. This routine is realistic. And if you follow it consistently, improvement is guaranteed. Consistency always beats talent. There are many talented people who never practice and never improve. And there are many average learners who practice daily and become confident speakers. Talent may help you start faster, but consistency takes you further. Remember this clearly. Talking to many people is not about courage first. Courage comes after action. Speak first, even if you feel nervous. Confidence will follow. Every conversation you have is training your brain. Every sentence you speak is progress. Even bad conversations are useful. They teach you what to do next time. Nothing is wasted when you keep practicing. I want you to remember one final truth. Your voice matters. Your ideas matter. Your English does not need to be perfect to be valuable. When you speak with clarity, calmness, and sincerity, people listen. If this video helped you understand how to talk to many people in English with less fear and more confidence, don't stop here. Subscribe to the channel for more simple and powerful English lessons. Like this video so more learners can find it, and comment below telling me where you feel most nervous when speaking English. Remember, you don't need perfect English to talk to many people. You just need the right approach, and we will build it together, step by step.